Thankful to be here this morning. You know, it was spitting and stuff, and we got to worry about the black ice when we go home. And one good thing, I'm never long-winded, so we don't have to worry about that. I want to read to you over in the 2 Kings chapter 5. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him the Lord had given the deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. And the Syrians had gone out by companies, and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife. And she said unto her mistress, Would God my Lord were with the prophet that is in Samaria, for he would recover him of his leprosy. And one went in and told his Lord, saying, Thus and thus said the maid that is of the land of Israel. And the king of Syria said, Go, and I will send a letter unto the king of Israel. And he departed, and took with him 10 talents of silver, and 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 changes of raiment. And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, Now, when this letter is come unto thee, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman my servant to thee, that thou mayest recover him of his leprosy. And it came to pass, when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes and said, Am I God, to kill and to make alive, that this man doth send unto me to recover a man of his leprosy? Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he seeketh a quarrel against me. And it was so, when Elisha the man of God had heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariot, and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. For Naaman was wroth, and went away, and said, Behold, I thought he will surely come out to me, and stand, and call on the name of the Lord his God, and strike his hand over the place, and recover the leper. Are not Abana and Pharpar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And his servants came near and spake unto him, and said, My father, the prophet, have bid thee do some great thing, wouldst thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he said to thee, Wash and be clean? Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God. And his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. We want to stop right there for now. You know, Naaman was a leper, and he found out that this king could clean him, cleanse him of his leprosy. And he gathered with him some money and some clothes, and he went his way to go to him. And you know, when he got there, he got told he just had to go dip himself in this river 7 times. And he didn't want to do it. That's kind of like how we are. The Lord will tell us something nice and simple and easy to do. We're like, we want something bigger, something better to do. You know, I was called to be a preacher. I just preach at these little churches. I'm not going to be some big preacher on TV. Don't want it. Wouldn't be able to do it. Of course, I say that, but with the Lord's help, all things possible. We can do just about anything. But you know, Naaman wanted something big to do. We all want something big to do in our lives. And we expect God to help us with it. But you know, over in Luke chapter 16, verse 10, it says, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And he that is unjust in the least is unjust in also in much." He that is faithful in the least, it said, is faithful in much. We have to do the little things. Naaman, all he had to do was dip himself 7 times in a river. It seems silly. He probably went and bathed himself in the river more than that. But because he got told to do it in a certain river, he didn't want to do it. But he had servants that came to him and said, you know, if he'd asked you to do some great big thing, you'd probably done it. And that's what we are. We're waiting in our lives for some great big thing. Whenever all along, that great big thing is that little thing right there underneath the nose. The little things. The little things is what matters. Little things, enough little things add up to one big thing. But we get too caught up in this world of trying to please man, trying to please this person or that person, where all that we really need to be doing is try to please God. And he tells us that we need to be faithful in the little things. If God puts a little thing on us to do, we need to do it. You know, I remember standing in the back of the church house, and the Lord come upon me, wanted me to testify. It's just a little thing, but I wouldn't do it. And because of my unbelief or my not very good faithfulness, I would leave miserable from church. I've also stood in the back of a church house and had the Lord come on me, wanted me to testify. And I didn't say but a few words. And I went home just as happy as all get out. Because I listened to the Lord. That's what we have to do, is we have to listen to the Lord. You know, I talk to the Lord, and I have ways of putting the fleece out to find out if things should be a certain way or not, but God always has come through and answered. But then there's been times that I sit back in my head and I think, well, now, is that really, really so? Get to doubting. You ever get to doubt in the Lord? He's told you, He's showed you, He's let you know a certain thing, but you get to doubting in your head because, well, is that really so? Did he really do that? That's the problem. We don't have the faith that we need to have. We need to have faith. Faith is what it takes to make it in this world. You say, well, I've got faith. I can make it. If you don't have faith in Jesus Christ and Him crucified, you don't have faith. You know, after Naaman was healed of the leprosy, he wanted to give money. He wanted to give money and raiment to pay for what had happened to him. And the king wasn't the king, it was Elijah, I believe. Elijah wouldn't take anything. Because he was doing the Lord's work. But you know, Elijah had a servant that ran after him, caught up to him, and got him to send back with him 2 talents of silver and change of raiment. And you know, whenever he got back, Elijah asked him why he had taken off after him, why he had done what he had done. And because of that, he became a leper for the rest of his life and his seed. I had a thought in my mind just a moment ago. It went away. Just bear with us. You know, Elijah thought nobody saw what he had done. Not Elijah, Elijah's servant. Elijah's servant thought that nobody had seen what he had done, and he took off after him. Was getting all that money and was getting a change of raiment. He was getting it for something that he didn't even do. And you know, the Lord, He sees everything that we do. That servant was probably wondering, how in the world did he know what I'd done? I'll tell you what, God knows everything that we do. And everything that we do, we have to do unto Him. We wonder why sometimes things happen. You know, it's like Lanita and I this morning. I could blame a lot of things on my vehicle not starting this morning. Well, it did start, got it all thawed out, we got ready to go, and it died. Start right back up, and it died. I could blame that on a lot of things. But you know what? I should be thankful that my car was at home and I didn't get stranded somewhere. How do we look at things? Oh, woe is me. My car's broke down. Now I've got all these problems. I got to figure out how to get it fixed. How about better off than not have it happen out in the middle of somewhere in nasty weather? And that's what we don't do. We don't give God the thanks for the little things. We don't look at things the way that we should. We look at things the way the old devil tries to get us to see things. You know, The Bible tells us it rains on the just and the unjust alike. So yeah, my car I knew was going to break down one day. I used to think about it. Yeah, it's going to happen one day. What? Well, it happened. Now I'll just have to deal with it. Things happen. And we have to deal with them. And wouldn't you rather deal with something with the Lord than to not have the Lord with you and try to deal with it? Because that's what I kept thinking. I'm like, that car started this morning, it thawed, ran for a while. Then it wouldn't leave the driveway because God knew that we'd have got stranded somewhere between here and church. So I'm thankful that he was there watching over me. I'm thankful he caused my car to quit when he did. Yeah, it's going to cost money, but I can't take any of this money with me whenever I leave this world. You know, I just need to be thankful that we had a vehicle that was ready to go besides it, where we could get here. We just need to be thankful for the things that the Lord does for us. And we also need to give thanks for the things that happen to us. We're supposed to be thankful in all things. You say, well, how can you be thankful in all things? How can you be thankful for something that has happened to you? Well, it could have been worse. And if you got the Lord there with you, you need to be thankful that it happened the way it did. And that's what we need to do. We need to be thankful for the Lord. Thankful for everything that he does for us. You know, I love the Lord. And I wouldn't give anything for my salvation. It's mine. I wouldn't take anything for it. And one of these days, I'm going to get to go and be with Jesus. We're not going to have to worry about things of this old world. I'll get to sing in a choir and actually be able to sing. Kind of can't wait for that day whenever I get to sing, so that I guess you could say beautiful. That's what's going to happen whenever we get to heaven and we start singing to the Lord. It's going to be beautiful.
What are you doing?
And, you know, that's all he's got on my heart this morning.